friends, and welcome to this summertime slumber party. I'm here with a dog. She's very cute. Her name is Angel. Say hi, Angel. Hi guys. She's pretty shy, but she's very cute. So if I seem distracted, it's because there's a super cute puppy right in my lap. But what I'm gonna do today is talk to you about my horror stories from going to summer camp. Because summer camp is supposed to be fun, but every time I went to one, I got like horrifically injured or mentally traumatized, or both. So I'm gonna be telling those stories all while I do a craft. Got some clay here, and I'm gonna attempt to make an ice cream cone, because that seems pretty on brand for summer. So I'm gonna do that, and hopefully this cute little angel named Angel does not distract me too much. Okay, time for you to go on the floor. So first we're gonna start off with the cone, and the first story I'll tell, I have them marked by what body part I injured during that time. So let's start with ankle. This one, I feel like I was about 10 years old for, but I was going to this summer camp. We were playing this game. We were running outside and there was this concrete area and I didn't want to play the game. You know, I was that kid who I kind of just wanted to sit. I did not want to do the activity. But, you know, they make you do the activity. And I've been a camp counselor, so I understand. It's like we do like force children to have fun. But yeah, I was like, I don't want to have fun. I just want to sit here, but they made me have fun. And it turned out not to be fun because we were running, playing this stupid variation of tag. And I'm running, probably looking behind me because someone's chasing me. And yeah, I trip and all I know is pain from that moment forward. I don't know if there was like a crack, because I think the adrenaline was running, but all I knew was like I was on the ground and I scraped my knee a little, but where really something went wrong was my ankle. I knew as soon as I like tripped like over the concrete and I like landed on it, like, I was like, oh, I probably messed that up. And that was the beginning of my ankle journey because my ankles are weak now and I always get them injured. So that was the first initial injury. I don't know why I did this, but I like mixed together brown and yellow. I thought it would become one color and be ice cream cone colored. But you know what? We live and we learn. Obviously, everyone like saw me on the ground and the counselors were like, oh no. And they brought me to the little office area and they had me fill out this form. And the whole time I thought it was like for my own personal safety that I had to fill out this form. But then I realized it was like a liability thing for them to make sure that my mom didn't try to sue the camp. So yeah, I fill out the thing, they give me an ice pack. I put my ice on it the rest of the day, but I'm still kind of playing around. But meanwhile, my ankle, I think it's my left one, is getting pretty swollen. And so my mom comes to pick me up. Wait, why is this working? See, this is a different color. I'm so smart. But my mom comes to pick me up and I hobble over to her and my mom's like, hey, what happened to my kid? And they explain that, you know, I tripped during an activity but my ankle's looking like 3 to 4 times the size as the other one. So my mom takes me to an urgent care. We go ahead and do the x-ray. And they find that I have a fracture in the growth plate of my foot. No, the growth plate like of my ankle. There's a fracture in there. And I had gotten the injury in the morning at summer camp, so probably like 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Since I was a growing kid, the doctor was like, if you would have like waited 24 hours to come get this checked out, she would have like had like a foot deformity of some sort because the growth plate is fractured. So if we didn't like do something to set it properly soon, then it'd be kind of like screwed up while I was trying to grow my foot. Are you serious? My bird fell. Anyway, let's get this cone stitch figured out. Cones are like cone shaped. That's right. I ended up getting a cast. That was like the first and only time I've like ever broken something. I think I got a pink cast, which was pretty cool. But what wasn't cool is that we had like a summer vacation planned. I think we had a cruise planned. And obviously you can't do a bunch of water activities when you have a cast. So I was sad about that. But we ended up like rescheduling the whole thing because otherwise it'd just be my mom and dad because I was an only child. So, you know, I was only screwing over them. But I was like, sorry guys, did not mean to do that. But also the counselor should have told my parents when it first happened, question mark. But I guess I don't know, maybe I wasn't complaining about it enough, which is strange because I love to complain. But anyway, that's my ankle story. That's kind of like the least intense one of the stories. So that's why I started off with that one. I'm gonna create like little little lines in my ice cream cone while I tell you about my feet story. So this time, I'm at summer camp once again. And I think maybe this happened before the ankle thing. I think I was younger. But we had this like water day, and we had like a big inflatable pool and like with the slide and stuff. It was a cool setup. And there's also a basketball court. I was on the blacktop basketball court with like my flip-flops and my sunglasses and my little towel with my friends. I decide that I want to go play in like the water inflatable part, which is like on the grass. And so I'm not thinking, and I don't put my flip-flops down to walk across the basketball court. And I'm walking across the court, I get about halfway, and I'm like, oh, I have made an extremely big mistake. Because I start to feel the burning, but it's like, I can't go back now. I'm like already like more toward the grass basically, so I gotta keep chugging on. I'm like, wow, this really hurts, wow, this really hurts. And I'm like running across the blacktop basketball court, and this is Florida in July, blacktop basketball court. That was hot, and I'm running barefoot across it. And I get to my counselor, and I kind of show them what the bottom of my feet look like, and they're like, ooh, like, yeah, you blistered it pretty bad. That could even turn into blood blisters. But I didn't really know what that meant, because I was like 8. So I was just like, okay. But I literally played on it the rest of the day. I mean, like, sometimes I sat out, but I was like still doing all the activities. And once again, they did not contact my family and tell them that I was injured. My mom just found out when she picked me up. Or not even then. Yeah, I think they like told her that I had like gotten like some minor burns or something, but I wasn't really complaining about it at that point. We get home, and I'm sitting on the couch, and I like put my feet up on the coffee table, and my parents are like, what happened to your feet? Because at this point, they were looking not good. It was like purple and red, big blisters, like all across like the bottom of my foot where I got them burned. And they ended up having to take me to the ER. I think I finished my cone. That's the cone part. I think that looks pretty good. Now we're gonna get started on the ice cream, and let me continue my story. So my parents took me to the emergency room. The only thing I remember is they made me drink a bunch of Gatorade. I think I had to pee in a cup. I don't know why you have to pee in a cup for blisters. That was odd. But oh, maybe I just needed to stay hydrated. They had me kind of overnight, and I was watching, I think it was George of the Jungle on the TV in the hospital room. And I remember like the doctor coming in and telling my parents, yo, she has 2nd-degree burns on the bottom of her feet. And they were like, and they ended up having to like drain the blood out of the blisters. So it was really disgusting, and I think they kept me overnight. I don't know if they like gave me an IV to keep me hydrated, but I remember it was like pretty painful because they had to put sharp things on the bottom of my feet to drain all the blood out. So that was not a fun time. Like, I'm making my chocolate ice cream right now. I had to stay home for like the rest of the week from camp because I could barely walk on them. Like, I don't know how I played the rest of the day after I got the blisters to begin with. But yeah, after like they drained them and stuff, I was kind of out of commission. And the summer camp was trying to tell my parents like, oh, like you still have to pay for the days that your kid isn't gonna be here because like, you know, like you paid week by week for the camp. And my mom was like, actually we'll frickin' sue you because you didn't like tell me immediately when my daughter was like very hurt. Like it wasn't just like a little like blister burn, it was 2nd-degree burns on the bottom of my feet. I think they ended up not making her pay that because obviously they don't want to like end up on the news. I think burns is one of like the worst things you can experience pain-wise. Like because it just like, it constantly hurts. I remember one time I was using a hot glue gun, which I hadn't used before like as a kid. And I remember I was like, I wonder how hot it really is. Cause you know how kids are like dumb. And so I remember I like put a little on my finger and I was like, yeah, so that hurts quite a bit. And I had to put it in cold water, like for 12 hours. I was like asleep and the cup was on the dresser and I'm like, because burns hurt. That brings me to my 3rd story, toe. And this was like the worst one because it was also not fun mentally because it was my first time at a sleepaway camp. I was used to the little day camps. My parents come pick me up and then I go sleep in my own bed and I do the whole thing again. My friend ends up convincing me to go to like this camp that she's been going to for years. and it's in North Carolina, and it's kind of like a Christian sleepaway camp, but I didn't realize how Christian it is. I wasn't like a regular churchgoer, and I wasn't super religious because that's just not how I was raised. But I was like, you know what? Like, it'll still be fun. There's like so many activities. There's swimming, there's singing, there's like one of those giant blobs in the lake that you can blob on and like launch yourself into the air. They had bike riding, hiking, all these like physical activities. They had arts and crafts too. So it was like it was a nice camp. I feel like my chocolate ice cream looks bad now. What do you guys think? I think she needs a little less. I'm down to have a good time. I'm like, I think it's gonna be in the movies. Low-key, I thought it was gonna be like Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap, like that sort of camp where we're like all in a cabin, we're pulling pranks on each other, and we're having these awesome friendships, and maybe I find a secret twin, you know? I was down for the experience. I thought it'd be a great time. And I was going with my friends, so I was kind of like hoping she would be there to guide me, because she's been going to this camp for like 10 years, and you know, she has a lot of friends there. I was kind of like leaning on her because I was a socially anxious like middle schooler. Maybe I was in 5th grade. But yeah, I wasn't like amazing at making friends. I was an only child, and yeah, like the few friends I had, I was just like super loyal to, because I was like, you're my friend. That's how friendship works. I remember going there and being in the cabin, and that was all fine. My friend that was with me, she just like, yeah, she had her own friends there, and so she kind of like left me behind to be with those friends, which I understand, but also it's like, you invited me to come to this camp, like at least the first like few days, you know, be by my side. I don't know, help me make friends. I don't know. Maybe I expected too much. So I was feeling kind of like isolated. And they also, like I said, it was a Christian camp. They would make you go to church every morning, which that was weird to me. And also to like graduate from camp, they expected you to memorize a Bible verse, which felt culty to me. But I mean, they would have let me leave anyway. Maybe I would have just gotten some disappointed looks for not memorizing the Bible. I ended up doing that, and I still had fun during it. Like, I loved going swimming, and we would go on like little field trips. One time we went to this place where it was called Sliding Rock, and it was a rock that was somewhat smooth, and you slid on it into the water. And I remember this one girl, she got like really bad like irritation and rash from doing that. So I was like, low-key, maybe we shouldn't be doing that. Yeah, it was fun for the most part, except I was feeling a bit isolated from the rest of the girls. I just like wasn't that confident in making friends, because I wasn't that confident in myself, because I was just like, I don't know, 10 or 11. I'm trying to make mint chocolate chip ice cream. It's going really poorly. Like, what are these blobs? That looks awful. I just need to make tinier chocolate chips. I'm not feeling amazing about the experience as a whole, but you know, I'm still having fun. I'm still doing what I can. One day I wake up, and so we're it's not like we're sleeping outside. We're sleeping in cabins, and you know, they're like bunk beds, and we have like a little shower. But one morning I woke up, and one of my toes on one of my feet, because that's where toes are, was gross. It was like swollen and a little purple, and it had like a bite mark. And I didn't know what insect had bit me. I was like, ow, and ew, because my toe was looking gross, and I started to feel unwell. And I don't know if it's like one of those things where I convinced myself that I wasn't feeling good, so then I didn't feel good. It felt like it was throbbing to me. I was like, I have an infection. If something doesn't happen, the toe's gonna fall off. That's what goes through my head. So I showed my counselor, and she was looking at it, and she's like, you know, your toe doesn't look quite right to me either. And I'm like, okay, thank you for validating that. I ended up going to like the little medic site they had for the campers, and they checked out my toe, and they were like, yeah, that really doesn't look good. And I'm like, right? And so they ended up taking me, they have to drive away from camp, because camp is kind of in the wilderness. And so they have to drive a little into the more city part so that they can take me to an urgent care. And I get there, and they look at it, and they're like, yeah, that's a spider bite. And they didn't tell me what spider, but apparently a venomous one. So that's what caused my toe to and look disgusting and throb and hurt. And low-key, I was like, this thing is about to give me like hallucinations. That's how far I'm going. But I was just being dramatic. So they gave me some antibiotics, and it ended up like going down. Like, it ended up being completely fine. The part that sucked the most, actually, was after I got back to the little medic site and I had got my antibiotics and my little toe was wrapped up with gauze or something. The nurse lady, she's like, oh, we've also heard like lice has been going around camp. So do you mind if we do like a quick check? And she goes over my head and she's like sifting through my hair and she's like, ooh, ow, what is that? And I'm like, do I have lice? Because I've never had lice, and I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to like shave my head. Like I've never experienced that, but I didn't feel bugs, and I didn't feel extreme itchiness. So I was like, I don't think I have lice. And she was like, your hair is like really dry, and there's dandruff, and maybe we can get you like some sort of shampoo for it. And I was like, girl, like we've been out here a week and a half in the wilderness. I only get 5 minutes to shower. Of course my hair isn't perfect right now. It's not in its best health. Like I haven't been able to exfoliate my scalp in the woods, sorry. She told my like counselor, and therefore like my whole cabin knew. And then it was just like a thing. It was like, ooh, she has, like I didn't have lice and they knew I didn't have lice, but she was like, ooh, she has something contagious sort of thing because I had dandruff like on my scalp. And I remember I was feeling like really insecure about it because when you're that age, it's like everything is embarrassing and humiliating. Like I was about to go into middle school. So I was just like, fuck me. But I have this memory of when we were in the cabin. It was like one of the last days of camp, and we had to get ready for some sort of like party, or if it was like a final dinner. So we had to get ready for that. And I remember like most of the girls were gone from the cabin at that point. I was in my feels because who wouldn't be when I feel like, you know, nobody likes me. I have to memorize the Bible. I'm out in the woods. I don't do well with nature sometimes. I just got a bug bite, not from an arachnid, a venomous creature. I'm looking for a little sympathy, but yeah, so I hadn't made friends, but I remember the camp counselor was really nice, and she had a hair straightener, and since everyone kind of wanted to look cute for the last dinner, she like straightened my hair for me, and she just made me feel like super cute and confident when I wasn't feeling that way. My parents picked me up like a couple days later from camp, and they were like, how was it? Because, you know, it's an expensive camp, which makes sense because, you know, it's a sleepaway camp, but they're feeding you, they're taking you on trips, they're letting you do fun activities. But my parents were like, do you have fun? And I was like, yeah. But I never went to that camp again. And I think I stopped going to summer camp after that because I was like, clearly, I don't know, it's not working well for me. I don't belong at summer camp. I don't know if it's because I was like an only child, so I just wasn't good at making friends fast. Like when you have a school year, you have a school year. But summer camp, I don't know, I was just never able to make friends well, which is kind of pathetic. But you know what, it's okay. Now I'm good at making friends. But yeah, at the time I was like, this sucks. So yeah, I've injured my ankle, my palms of my feet, my toe at summer camp. So it's a dangerous place. I think that's okay if you didn't do well at summer camp. It's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad kid or that you're socially inept. It's just, sometimes we're just socially awkward 5th graders, and that's okay. Probably the one that hurt the most was the burns on the feet, but the one that was like the most mentally taxing, especially because I didn't have a support system in the wilderness, was the toe thing. Because I had, you know, the medic kind of being a bitch about my dandruff, and then like I didn't feel like close with the girls in the cabin or my friend at that point. It was pretty isolating. The only real friend I had was the spider who bit my toe. And with that, here's a little cherry. I don't know if you can see it. It's a little red thing. I'm gonna put it on top of my ice cream cone. Okay, wait, that's kind of cute. She's a little misshapen, but look at this ice cream cone. That's an ice cream cone, is it not? That is an ice cream cone. So now all I have to do is bake it in the oven, and then it's done, and it's my little craft. I've also been putting them on my fridge, so I might hot glue it to a magnet and then put the magnet on the fridge because I like having my fridge magnets. Maybe I'll show you some of them if you're lucky. But yeah, those are my summer camp horror stories. Here's my craft. Here is Angel. Say hi, Angel. Or bye. Say bye. She doesn't know English. I bet you would do well at summer camp, huh? You would make great friends. Would you guys be friends with Angel? Would you guys be nice to Angel? Or would you spread rumors about her having lice and then send a spider after her? Just saying. All right, well, thank you. Thank you. And I think I'm gonna make myself a little smoothie bowl. So, see you later. Bye. Like and subscribe.